I'm Aurora, 17, daughter of the Alpha of the Blue Moon Pack. But my father wanted to destroy me. The night he unbuckled his belt, my mother swung a frying pan. That's how our escape began. Severing the mate bond, fleeing the pack's pursuit, collapsing in the snow, until strange wolves found us. This time, I won't stay silent. The door to my bedroom creaked open. My heart began to race as I laid as still as possible on my side, not wanting to let them know I was awake. My eyes held shut despite being wide awake now as I listened to the heavy footsteps entering my room. When the door clicked closed, my blood ran cold. I had noticed the way he had started looking at me since I turned 17 years old. Almost a year had passed, and each night I was terrified at what might happen. I tried to keep my heart steady, knowing he could probably hear my racing heart. My floorboards creaked as he continued to walk towards my bed. I felt his tall shadow fall over me as I pretended to sleep for as long as possible. Panic set in when I heard him unbuckling his belt. Mum was out, which was when his behavior would change to me. His touch was different, leaving me feeling sick. I was praying Mum would return soon. I watched all night how he had been hovering over me until he finally found a way to send Mum out. I had rushed to bed hoping I would be safe, out of sight, out of mind, right? I don't think Mum had noticed. If I'm honest, she loved him. He was her mate, and the bond between them was sacred. I don't think it even entered her head that he would do something like this. I couldn't blame her. She was an omega, a weaker wolf. By being mated to an alpha, she would struggle more than anyone to go against him. As I am an alpha wolf, I was going to have to fight him off. I heard his button pop before he began working on his zipper. Fear overcame me, and I tried with everything I had to hold on. If I gave into the fear, then what? I know you're awake. I felt a chill run down my spine at his words. On instinct, my eyes snapped open. Looming above me was the man I both feared and loved. A man who was supposed to protect me above all else. A man who I implicitly trusted. My father. I don't know when the sickness took over him or if it's always been a part of him. All I knew was that I wasn't going to be a victim. I had watched how he had treated my mother for years. I watched her tears as it happened, but she loved him and always forgave him. Time after time I saw her beaten, a smack around the face if dinner was late, a smack for sending me to bed early. I even caught him punching her a few times. There was one night I had seen him half choke her to death before they fucked. It sickened me. All I could think of was that I was glad I wasn't an omega. He had left her collapsed on the floor as she cried. She knew what he did and was powerless to stop him. I felt bad for her. I wanted to protect her from him. She never knew what I saw. He would often come back smelling of other women. She would ask him about it and cry. All he did was beat on her and said he didn't want someone so pathetic as a mate. If he had been drinking, she would tell me to hide when I was younger. Hiding got you nowhere. I had to fight. His hand skimmed over my body before peeling the covers back to reveal my pajamas. My body shudders. My mouth was dry, my eyes pricked with tears. I have never been so terrified in my life. I kept trying to distance myself from the situation so I could think clearly. He rolled me onto my other side. I kept my arms crossed over my breasts to protect myself. When I looked up, I could just make out his face in the darkness. I felt something brush across my cheek as I shuddered again. Open your mouth, I shook my head as he spoke. There was no way I was going to do that. I hated him with every fiber of my being. I heard the door downstairs click, signaling Mum was home. I felt a mixture of relief and fear at her return. He heard her too and clasped one of his hands over my mouth to stop me from screaming. Richard, she calls as I hear her search the lower floor for him. My heart thuds frantically as his face is so close to mine. I can feel the tears streaming down my cheeks as fear takes over when the TV clicks on and he releases me, smiling devilishly. She won't save you. You know, I could make her watch and do nothing. He voices my worst fear. That would kill my mom. I wouldn't want her to suffer like that. I see her suffering every day. He steps back, releasing my mouth. This is my shot. I need to make this count. I let my arms fling out, hitting his hardened dick as I scream. Mom, Mom, Mom. Help me, is all I manage as he falls to the floor, but he's stronger and more resilient than I expected him to be. Before I can even get off the bed, he jumps on top, pinning me in place. My whole body is shaking with fear that I don't even hear the door burst open. Richard, what are you doing? I hear Mom cry. I look towards her, seeing her face look completely devastated, her heart breaking before my eyes. Mom, I'm so sorry. Her gray eyes meet my green ones and I see her determination to save me. Get out, bitch. I'll deal with you later, my father says, his voice laces with her wolf's direct command. She can't refuse him. She gives me one final look before fleeing down the stairs. He turns back to me, that evil lust-filled glint in his eyes I have seen on his face for the past year. You're such a little cock tease. You think you can walk around in your little shorts and skirts like you do, thinking there are no consequences. You're going to learn exactly what that means. Now open up, my girl. My eyes widened in horror as he thrust his hips towards my face. I'm completely trapped as his arms and legs hold me down. I shake my head back and forth, trying to get away from him. My tears are full on streaming down my cheeks. I even have snot running out of my nose. He slaps me across the face before one hand painfully grips my jaw. I said open up. He all but spits. Before he can force my mouth open, he falls forward and a loud bang rings in my ears. Aurora. Aurora, are you okay? I hear the voice of my mother as I look up, seeing her holding a large frying pan above the bed. She saved me. I push the human turd off of me as he slumps to the floor. She whacks him on the head once more for good measure before pulling me into her arms. He won't be out for long. Grab a few items, then we will leave. She whispers in my ear as she releases me, my legs shaking as I stumble around my room grabbing anything and everything I can get my hands on. I see Mom bind his hands and feet with some rope. It won't do much, but it will give us a few extra seconds, and those could make all the difference. Mom has disappeared, leaving me with him. I grab a few things before leaving the rest as I help her pack, grabbing as much money and cash as I can. The only thing my father is going to be useful for is the fact he hates banks, so the house is teeming with cash at all times. I fill one bag full before we both freeze, hearing a groan. We look at each other, giving a nod before I open the window to her room. There's a small ledge outside and I climb out, dropping the bag on the ground as I help Mom out. As an Omega, she has more curves than I do. We both jump from the ledge, landing on the grass of our garden, a place I used to play as a child. Memories flash across my face, but there is no time. I pick up the bag, slinging them over my shoulder as I take Mom's hand. Are you all right? She gives me a nod, and we both set off in a run, putting as much distance between the house and us. I look back, seeing the house disappear in the distance before hearing an earth-shattering roar. Aurora. Mom stops, shaking slightly before she looks at me with panic in her eyes. Mom, we need to keep going. He will kill you if you go back, I tell her, but she shakes her head at me. Not yet. We need to make it harder for him to find us, she says, wringing her hands. Her eyes fill with tears as she looks back to where we just came from. What are you talking about? Let's go. I urge, but she stays still when she turns to look at me. She speaks so quietly that I almost don't hear her. The bond, I freeze. She's right. The bond between mates is a powerful thing, so powerful that you can find your mate from any location. There could be hundreds of miles between you, but that connection, that pull to each other, is always there. I nod looking back at her. I know she chose me. She defied not only her alpha but her mate to rescue me. It doesn't mean that the choice won't cost her. She needs to reject him before we go any further. Once the bond is severed, it will make it harder for him to locate us. You've got his mom, I encourage, giving her a hug to give her the strength to do this. They have been together for years. She has stuck by him through so much, and part of the reason is because it is almost impossible to sever a bond once you have been together for so long. I, Sarah Anderson, of the Blue Moon Pack, reject Richard Anderson as my mate and alpha. I renounce this pack as my home and as their Luna. I hear her voice break as her whole body shudders and I hold her close, kissing her cheek. I have never been prouder of my mom. I know she is in agony. We hear another roar from my father. The effect of the severed bond will be causing him pain too, not to mention having the pack link break. Your turn, my sweet, my whispers in my ear. I nod, feeling her tears land on my shoulder. This part will be easier for me in some way, but despite everything, he is still my father, and this is never an easy step. I, Aurora Anderson, of the Blue Moon Pack, reject Richard Anderson as my alpha and father. I renounce this pack as my home and the position of his heir and future alpha of the pack. I feel the link snap, freeing me from this place. With it, my whole future gone with it. If I could have made it until I was 18, I would have had my wolf. I could have challenged my father for the position as alpha and rid this pack of him. As it is, things didn't go that way. I release Mum, wiping her tears from her cheeks as she does mine. Let's go, she says, and we take off running once again. We ran until our legs gave out. It would be faster to run in wolf form, but as I don't have mine yet and the rejection has weakened Mum, she can't shift. We both stop by a tree slumping, catching our breath back. Aurora, has that happened before? Mum asks tentatively. I shake my head, wanting to reassure her. No, Mum, you saved me. She gives me a sad smile, but I know she will be okay. She is stronger than I could ever have imagined. I guess I was off limits. She endured everything else as long as I didn't come to harm. I watched her dark blonde hair fall in front of her face as her eyes welled up once more. I looked so similar to Mum. She was the beauty of our pack and the envy of any visiting alpha. Her heart-shaped face, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, perfect hourglass figure. Your classic Omega. She was a tiny thing as well, only 5 feet 2 inches, but like I said, she was strong and resilient even. I admired her in so many ways. I don't want you to suffer anymore either, Mum, I whispered to her. She looked at me stunned, before looking even sadder than before. My chest squeezed. She thought she had protected me from that. Now she knew I knew. It's all right, sweetie. Let's keep moving. She stood picking up her bag, and I grabbed the others as we walked through the forest until we found a road. Looking both left and right, we tried to see which way was best to go. We opted for the left as it turned further from our pack. We walked for a further 30 minutes. I had no idea what time it was, but both of us were dead on our feet. I could see some sort of light in the distance and hoped it would be a small town or village where we could stay the night. Mum, look, I think that's a light. We can probably find somewhere to stay. She nodded, and I took her bag from her to lighten her load. She had had a rough night, we both had, but I knew no matter what, she was going to be affected by this worse than I was. If I ever saw that man again, I was going to kill him. I just needed to make it until I was 18. I would get my wolf any abilities I might have and be stronger than before. Mum gave me a sad smile as the village came into view. The place was quiet, probably given the time of night we were here. I took her hand, pulling her along until we found the only hotel in the place. Luckily for us, they had 24-hour reception. "1 room, please," I said to the half-asleep receptionist behind the desk. His body jolted as I spoke, not realizing that people were actually here in this ghost town. "How many nights will you be staying for?" he asked. I looked at Mum. We were both so tired, but I knew we needed to keep moving. We were still too close. "1 night, please," he nodded, taking some details which I lied about before giving him the cash. He gave us a key, and we headed up the stairs to our room. It was a standard room with a double bed. I had chosen it partly because I knew Mum would need me, and secondly because I would need her. I didn't want what happened to haunt me as I slept. I needed to be strong if we were both to get through this. "I'll take a quick shower, then I can run you a bath?" I offered as Mum just nods, helping herself to the bottled water in the room. "Okay, sweetie." I dashed into the bathroom, not wanting to leave her on her own. I also didn't want to be caught off guard. I had no idea how far we had walked, how much distance we had put between us. I just prayed it was enough. Looking up at the moon, I prayed to the moon goodness for her help and guidance. I jumped in the shower, washing off his touch from my body. No amount of scrubbing made me feel clean. I had to deal with that another day. I'll focus my attention on Mum for now. Wrapping a towel around my body, I rinsed the bath before running it for her. "Bath's ready," I called out. I heard a shuffle before she came through the door. "Thank you, Aurora." She looked close to tears once more. I left her too, hoping it would help her feel better. I looked through the items I had packed while drinking some of the water in the room. There were 2 other bottles and a few crisps and biscuits which I packed in the bag, not knowing what tomorrow would bring. I dressed in jeans and a t-shirt as I towel-dried my hair. I wanted to be actually dressed just in case. It would be a hell of a lot more obvious if I continued traipsing through the forest in my pajamas. I looked in the mirror, not sure what to make of how I looked, his voice still ringing in my head. I had got my curves from my mum. They weren't anything like hers for sure. She had large, perky tits and an ass. Mine were still there. Even in this outfit, it looked sexy. My ass filled out my jeans and my breasts stretched out over the fabric of my t-shirt. Was this my fault? I sighed, shaking my head. No, I'm not going to think that way. As werewolves, nudity isn't a big deal. Everyone strips before shifting if they have time. If there is an attack, that's not always possible. When it's over and they switch back, they all have to walk home naked or hope there is some clothes still buried in the woods or bush somewhere. I reasoned that even if I wore shorts or skirts, it shouldn't matter, right? "It's not your fault, dear. You're beautiful." Mum pulls me from my faults and I turn to look at her. She still has that sad, lost look on her face, but I can see she is trying to hold it together for me. "Let's get some rest." She dresses similar to me, wearing actual clothes rather than trying to make a run for it in her slip. The thought makes me want to laugh. We both get in bed as she wraps her arms around me securely. I drift off immediately, falling into a deep slumber. Wake up. My eyes blink open, hearing a voice. Look around the room. The lights still on, not seeing anyone. Mum is still asleep beside me. Fear fills me as I head to the bathroom to make sure the place is clear. That's when I heard voices outside the building of our hotel. They found us already? Aurora. I peek from behind the curtain to see members of our pack searching the village for us. I can't see my father with them, thank the goddess. There are about 5, with 2 in wolf form. That must be how they found us, picking up our scent. I quietly walk back over to the bed and gently wake Mum up. I put my hand to her mouth in case she tries to say something or scream. Her eyes snap open. Fear flicks across her beautiful face before she registers it's me. I hold my free hand to my lips to signal to be quiet. She nods and I remove my hand from her mouth. I gesture towards the window where she peeks out like I had moments earlier when she spots them. She turns back to me before her eyes search the room. Her eyes land on something and I see them flash to her wolf before she hurries over and starts spraying both me and her with the room air freshener. She sprays so much I struggle not to cough using my hands. I waft it away from my mouth. I know why she did it. This will hopefully mask our sense to at least be able to get out of the village. As wolves, we have a heightened sense of smell, but that increases in our wolf form. We are also faster, stronger, and more lethal in that form too. We pick up the bags, stuffing the towels under the covers of the bed to make it look like we are still there sleeping before slipping out. When we are in the dimly lit hallway, we hear voices as a man speaks to the receptionist, asking a few questions. We share a look before heading to the emergency exit. Mum sprays a little of the air freshener as we go, helping to cover our tracks. They don't know we know they are here yet. Using that to our advantage, we open the emergency exit. There's no alarm, another blessing as we make our way, closing the door just as the elevator dings its arrival. We wait a moment. Mum tries to judge how many of them are there. When we hear a crash, we know they have broken down the door to the room. We share a look before running down the stairs of the emergency exit. We don't have the mind link now as we aren't part of the pack, something that would have been helpful. I don't know why I didn't think to use it earlier, but fear has a way of making the brain react differently to fight or flight kick in. When we reach the bottom floor, we check to listen to make sure the coast is clear. Mum sniffs the air, trying to pick up any of their scents. We are also out of air freshener. Not that it necessarily worked anyway, but at least it felt like it helped. Try all the exits. They have to be here somewhere. We hear one of the men yell and a few growls take place. We hear the door that we just came through burst open at the same time we open the one downstairs running through it, hoping they don't hear. We creep, staying close to the wall, looking for a way to escape. I take Mum's bag when I see she partly shifts her nails turn to claws and her teeth turn to fangs. She gives me a nod. She's ready if need be. We walk around the building looking for escape routes, but even if we somehow manage to get past them, we can't outrun two wolves. There is a bush that runs along the side of the next building as we reach the corner. I peek out once more, not seeing anyone before we both sprint to the bush, wanting to put as much distance between the hotel and us. We crawl along as the branches scratch my arm. When we reach the other side, we both stand, turning the corner, and we see one of the men on the other side of the building. He turns, clocking us before an evil smirk crosses his face. Run, Mum whispers as we both sprint for our lives. He chases us, no doubt mind linking the others to follow. I'm faster than Mum. I scan the area, looking for something, anything. Come on, Moon Goddess, save us. Sarah, stop running. It's only going to make it worse for both of you. He taunts as he chases after us. Don't listen to him, run. I call to her as we continue to run down the street. As I look back, I see he is gaining on her. In one fell swoop, she turns, slicing her claws through his face. He falters, slowing as she speeds up, putting more distance. I see a few of them come turning the building as they chase after us. We don't have long. We need a miracle goddess, please. That's when I spot the car in the distance. It's the only thing we can use to outrun a wolf. We gain closer as we hear a howl and know it's now or never. I reach the car first, breaking the window with my elbow, knocking out the glass so it shatters. I reach and unlocking the doors as I chuck our bags in the back seat. If it came to a fight, I didn't want them to hold me back. Mum gets in and I close the door as my gaze looks at the back window. She removes the covering and begins playing around with the wires, using her claws to release the fibers from their casing. I catch a few sparks and the car flicks on and off. Hurry, Mum, I call. They've all shifted to their wolf form and are gaining on our position. I turn back to see Mum has secured the wires. The engine comes to life as she moves it into gear. I turn back, hearing growls approach us. I see them slowing down as they start to enclose around us. Letting out a shaky breath, Mum pushes on the pedal, jolting the car forward as one of their noses breaches my shattered window. Mum accelerates, the engine revving in the dark night as we speed across the village streets. The wolves are right behind us. Faster, Mum. We turn a bend, swerving to keep on the road. We turn again before we get to the straight leading out of the village. I look back, seeing them still following. I just hope whatever direction we are going in isn't bringing us back the way we came. Once we leave the village, Mum floors the car as we accelerate further, and I'm forced back into my seat. I look out the wing mirror, seeing the charging wolves begin to disappear as we put more and more distance between us. Once they finally disappear from view, we both let out a sigh of relief. Mom continues to keep her foot down and we drive as fast as the car allows us. I watch as the sun rises up in the sky. The surroundings change from trees to fields, 2 mountains visible in the distance. I don't know how many hours we have been driving, but eventually the car begins to slow. What's happening? I ask, turning to look at Mom who's frowning. We're running out of fuel. The engine croaks as it slows further, the car coasting along the road until it comes to a stop in the middle of the road. Mom guides it to the side, making room for other cars to pass it if needed. I grab the bags from the back seat before we both get out of the car. We both stretched after having sat down for so long. I look around where we are seeing nothing for miles. The road is open as far as the eyes can see. There are some mountains in the distance, but otherwise just stretches of barren lands. Where to now? I ask, trying to sound positive and failing miserably. Mom turns to me with a sympathetic smile. Let's head for those mountains. It's our best option. I nod, taking all the bags. Mom tries to take hers, but I insist she has driven us all this way, and I know regardless of how much I hate him, she lost her mate, the pain that she must be feeling inside only weighing her down. We both start walking, confident that we have enough of a head start, not needing to run anymore. It takes us 5 hours to reach the valley the base of the mountains begins in. We both stop to catch our breath, and I hand Mom a bottle of water and packet of crisps. Starving, I practically lick the bag clean. I look at the biscuits in the bag, tempted to eat them too. I leave them there. We will need them to walk up that monstrosity. I had raided the glove compartment of the car and packed an energy drink with some sweets, too. I open those, handing Mom a handful, taking some myself. We sit for a moment, enjoying the sun. Every inch of my body aches after barely any sleep and traveling for so long. I just want to close my eyes here and rest. Come on, we need to move before it gets dark. Rouges might be around, it won't be safe. Mom says, standing. She takes her bag from me, which I begrudgingly give her. Carrying 3 bags is a lot. I don't have my wolf, so only slightly stronger than a human. I haul my ass up, taking the other bags. We begin our climb up the mountain. There is a pleasant breeze as we walk. I conceal our footprints as we go, just for safety. Despite the small amount of food and drink we have, the mountain is intense. Our supplies have completely depleted, and as I look up, it just keeps going. There is snow right at the top. I open my bag, taking the one jumper I had packed, putting it on. Mom does the same as the wind picks up, whipping around us. My legs are heavy, my whole body feels exhausted. I can barely stand as we both continue to trudge up the mountain. There's no shelter here, no place to rest. I struggle to breathe as the air gets thinner and Mom falls behind, unable to keep up with my pace. I look around. There must be something. I turn and see Mom has collapsed on the ground. I head over to her. Mom? I shake her before pressing my head to her chest. Her heart is still beating. I can hear her breathing. I relax. She's just tired. I huddle closer to her to keep her warm, struggling to keep my own eyes open. Her soothing scent calms me and I drift off, too tired to think of anything else. What's that over there? I hear a male voice in the distance. I'm too sleepy to know if I'm dreaming or if this is real. I am also so cold my limbs are frozen in place. I hear footsteps approaching, but unable to open my eyes. They're sealed shut from the cold. It's 2 women. A deep, husky voice speaks. It's not one I recognize. There's only concern in his voice. Strong hands touch me, and although I want to flinch, I'm frozen in place. I keep hold of Mom as much as I can. Come help me, he calls as another guy comes over. I hear his heavy tread approach. Bloody hell, they look half dead, a gravelly voice speaks. I feel oddly calm. Despite less than 24 hours, a man approached me as I slept, patting me down. I guess I'm either too tired to fight, but deep down I think it is because I know I can trust them. If you take this one, I'll carry the other. Take them straight to the hospital, his gravelly voice says. Yes, Alpha, the other man says as I'm passed to the other man. My grip falters as I let go of Mom as they walk what I can only assume is to their pack. Hush, little one, you're safe, is all I hear before sleep takes me once more.